All right, time again for another Throwing Bagels podcast episode. This is number 51 now. We're on the last half on the way to 100, right?
Century mark. Yes.
Yeah, we're on our way. Kevin Moody here alongside Chris Douglas. Hey, Chris.
Kevin, how's it going?
It's going. How about you?
It feels like just yesterday we spoke.
It does. Jason Hamo with us as well. Hey, Jason.
Hello, how are you?
I am wonderful. And how are you, sir?
I am doing okay.
Doing okay. Jay's going to get some things off his chest a little bit later on in this podcast, I think.
He is.
So we're gonna, but not with our next guest. We'll save it for later. We'll spare her. But joining us now on the Throwing Bagels podcast, a return appearance. She's the Dean of the School of Communication, Media, and the Arts at SUNY Oswego. It's our pleasure to welcome back Dr. Jennifer Knapp. Hey, Jen.
Hey, y'all. It's a pleasure to be back. I'm thrilled, and it's a tremendous honor.
Well, the honor is ours.
Yes, for sure.
And if you're listening, you know we typically record this a couple of days in advance. So it hits the web on a Wednesday. We record the prior Monday. But because the week of listening is the week of Labor Day, we don't record on Labor Day. That's a holiday, man. So we're recording this the week before. So currently it is August 26th that we're talking to Dr. Knapp. And that day is significant because on August 26th, 2025 is the expected opening, the much anticipated opening of Hewitt Hall. And Dr. Knapp, where do things stand with that just enormous project?
It is enormous, and it's sort of like, when you're getting ready for vacation, and sometimes they say the best part of vacation is like the lead up to vacation. That's where we're at with Hewitt. So we're exactly a year out. So today was the first day of the fall 2024 semester. So yeah, August is actually, technically August 25th, 2025 will be the first day of instruction in Hewitt Hall. So we're thrilled. We're hoping to have a full court year-long media sort of junket this year to prep everyone for the building and to build up even more anticipation and excitement.
All right, so I was a day off. That's okay.
Yeah, we'll let it slide.
Okay.
I mean, you could be a total dork like me and put a countdown widget on your phone. I'm just saying, that's an option. That helps.
We could do that. We put that on our website.
We should
put it on our website.
Countdown. That's right.
I would be super grateful if you put that on your website. Thank you.
All right.
Kevin will figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But I mean, in terms of how the project is going, I know you guys were in the building a year ago or a little over a year ago, and you wouldn't recognize it. It's still fantastic. Everything is on schedule. We've been really, really lucky, knock all the wood you can, in terms of the actual construction of the building. That's going great. Everything is on time. We're anticipating next summer, everyone will be moving into offices, labs will be outfitted and set up, and all the software and all that will be loaded onto all the computers in the various editing labs and all of that, in addition to broadcasting studios getting built. That'll start in the spring, podcast studio getting built out. So we're extremely excited. We've been doing a couple of tours. We had comm studies the department went through last Friday, 2 different groups of them. And I spoke to one of the faculty members this morning, and she said she was just absolutely vibrating after the tour. So excited about it. It really is going to be transformative. At this point, it's starting to sound like it's a little too hyperbolic in terms of the excitement that we have. But I mean, it really, truly is going to be sort of a destination for all sorts of people, alumni, students. But I probably said to you guys last year, we are fully anticipating other universities are going to come and study this space and then go back to their campus and say, that's what we need. That's what we want.
Make them jealous. That's what I said.
100%. That's how I roll. So I'm down for that.
So have things started moving in yet, or are we still like very much in a construction phase at this point?
Yeah, because we're still under construction. Yeah. So in fact, the tours have been pretty far and few between because we don't want to interrupt what's going on. They're kind of in a groove. And so it does take some phone calls to the SUNY Construction Fund to get approval for tours. So we're not doing them as regularly as we used to, because they do need to sort of stop when we're in the area for safety reasons and all of that. So we don't want to disrupt that. I think a lot of the spaces you probably could technically move into them, maybe even as early as late winter, like February, March. But I don't think the IT infrastructure will be in yet. So I could sit in my office, but I'll just be sitting in my office. I won't have any internet or anything like that to get anything done. But
Could be a perfect hiding spot. Go
yes,
calm down and meditate a little bit. Just go in there, sit there quietly, and no one will be around. It'd be perfect for you.
yep, I think that's kind of already in the plans. Yeah.
When it comes to the project, so like technically the building right now isn't a SUNY Oswego building. It belongs to SUNY itself while they're working on it.
Yeah, well, and actually, I think that's probably technically true, but it
Okay.
also belongs to the construction companies in a way. So there's no ceremony for it, but there is a moment where the building is fully turned over to SUNY Oswego. So there has to be some critical point that is reached that is beyond my knowledge of what that moment actually looks like. But I'm a dork. I would love to be there if we know that it's, ceremonial handing of keys or something. I'm down for it. And we get some PR out of it too.
There won't be a
Sounds great.
ribbon cutting or something
I
like
was going to
that.
say, there's got to be some sort of ribbon cutting, right?
Yes. So right now, as you can imagine, and maybe I'll even see you guys next month technically, but in a month for President Wosu's inauguration. So right now, all campus is focused on the president's inauguration, but I keep dropping a few seeds every couple of months, like don't forget about Hewitt. So we got to start planning the next party. That we will have an official ribbon cutting and some sort of really fantastic party to open the building.
Awesome.
It's the most likely time for that to happen would be Founders Weekend in fall 2025. So sometime like late September, early October, I would expect next year.
That's a late inauguration, no? Didn't he become president last year?
Yes, he did. Yeah. So it's a little unusual, but he's from Nigeria. And so getting a lot of his family members here, takes a lot of time. And we also, it was too soon to pull it off last fall. And then he probably rightfully so said maybe an inauguration in the wintertime in Oswego, not such a good idea when you've got, dignitaries traveling from all over the world. And it's, presidential inaugurations are really, really interesting. And they have a lot of rich history, and there's a lot of pageantry to it. And presidents from all colleges and universities are invited. So, I mean, you could have people who are from all across the country that travel for something like this. So it does take quite a bit of planning. And I'm on that committee, but I am not chairing it. Thank goodness. The amount of work that these folks are doing, particularly Mary Canale, who you probably know, in university advancement. She's one of the co-chairs, and then Rich Bush in technology, who's a fantastic faculty member. They're doing most of the work for all of us, and it is quite the undertaking.
I can't imagine they really want people showing up with 30 feet of snow 30 inches of snow on the ground, and his family probably isn't very accustomed to snow. So
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a part of us to be like, oh, wouldn't that just be delightful and romantic? But logistically, not a good idea.
I mean, it would be very Oswego for that to happen.
It
though.
would be. Yeah.
How transformative will Hewitt Hall, be to SUNY Oswego once it's open? Obviously, it will probably be one of the most preeminent buildings on campus at this point, since it's obviously going to be the newest building on campus. But compared to, overall, like what is it going to bring to the campus?
I think, well, certainly it's going to put an even bigger spotlight on some of our most, I think, notorious programs really at Oswego, broadcast being one of the biggest and baddest in a good way for so long. So it's certainly going to shine a light on our academic programs, which is what we're all about. But I mean, it's a really inspirational building. Our hope is that it's going to spark a lot of intellectual curiosity among our students, but also our faculty and staff that are inhabiting the building. I mean, you can literally walk through the sort of main thoroughfare and just, for the listeners so they can visualize it. Like, let's say if we enter from the side of Hart Hall, and you walk, there's going to be a sort of like a main hallway that goes right from that side, the east side of the building, over to the west side of the building, which is where Tyler Hall is. And so even if you just traverse that path, you're going to see sort of a magical, very collegiate sort of a scene, where you've got students that are hanging out together. They're at the cafe, they're getting coffee. You can walk by, you can see the beautiful new ballroom that is going to be on the south side of the building. That's got, even more windows. It's got a patio and all of that. You're going to go past the podcast studio. You're going to see one of the broadcasting studios. And you'll get, when you get to the other side, you'll see the newsroom too, which will be a very sort of eye-catching, eye-appealing newsroom. It looks like a professional newsroom. It'll have all the TVs. It'll have workstations for our students and our broadcast journalists. So even just walking sort of that short path from east to west, you're really going to get a feel for that building. And as you guys know, with that skylight that's in there, that's right in the center of the building now, kind of focused on that collaborative core staircase. It's just you're gonna feel transported to a different campus.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm looking forward to it. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you're looking forward to it because you're there all the time, but
Yeah.
I'm just very seeing the renderings that we saw, I mean, when we last saw it, obviously it was just a shell and like bunch of
Sure.
metal everywhere and things like that. But I'm really looking forward to see what it looks like once it's finished.
Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to visit and to take you through.
And actually, we will post a link on our episode. Professor Ricky actually recently narrated like a virtual tour of Hewitt Hall and interspersed some pictures too of how things currently look. So please check that out on our website. When you visit our podcast episode, we'll have that linked up there. And things do, you can kind of see how everything is starting to fall into place now. And so it's going to really look spectacular when it's all
Yeah.
done.
Right now, the second floor is the furthest along, and that was the plan from the beginning. And that's where we've got a lot of the art studios and a lot of offices and things like that. And yeah, paint on the walls, flooring in, all the HVAC is in. The air conditioning is actually working on the second floor. So it's been a nice treat for the people that are working up there. So it's kind of remarkable how quickly everything is coming together. It's awesome. I mean, you could go in every few weeks and see something new, something different.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility to open up like something earlier than other areas of the building? Like I guess preference would probably be to open everything at one time, but is there a possibility, I guess, maybe not now, not knowing now, maybe you'll have to wait timeline wise and see what the project is looking like, but possibly
It's
opening up other areas first?
Yeah, it's unlikely, unless it would be again like the second floor, that since that will be done first, it might be possible that people on the second floor could move in sooner, in terms of who's going to have offices up there and stuff like that. So it's possible. But a lot of it'll come down to, if all the technology is installed and all of that stuff sort of remains on schedule with getting equipment delivered and all of that. We were talking about that the other day. We usually have like an annual meeting for SCMA to kick off the year. And one of our faculty members said, when can we get families in? Can we get families in this year? So to build up that hype. And we're like, no, I don't think we shouldn't even entertain that thought, because I think, yeah, the construction fund would probably have something to say about that. We want to keep them happy.
Absolutely. So, and as we speak, today was the first day of class at Oswego for the semester. So, students are moved in, classes are ongoing. Is this your favorite time of year, Jen?
Yeah, absolutely. You really can't manufacture the excitement and the buzz of the first week. There's so much uncertainty. So you can see there's a lot of help with wayfinding. Like I was helping two students at the end. So our first year students actually moved in last Wednesday, and we had torchlight Wednesday night and all of that. So they had been on campus a couple of days, and I ran into a couple of them on Friday, and they were trying to get from Cayuga all the way over to Sheldon. And I was like, oh man, you're gonna
You don't want to do that. I hope
Don't
you
do it
put
in the
class
winter.
there because you're gonna drop that class very
Yeah.
quickly.
I'm like, well, this is good. It's a good test for next week because this was last Friday. So, but yeah, it really like genuinely is my favorite time of the year. Everyone's excitement. I mean, and everyone's excited. Higher ed is such an interesting business to be in because you get to start fresh like every few months, like every semester or every year. It's psychologically very refreshing that you can just sort of turn the page and be like, well, you know what? That didn't go to plan. We're going to try again, or we're going to do it differently, or we're going to do it better, or this was a big success. Let's do it again and again. So it is really, it has an energy that you almost can't describe, but it's great. It's great to have the campus full again. Summer is always kind of a bummer, as you know. It's the most beautiful time to be in Oswego, and nobody's around. So when the students come back and we have this first month of really good weather and everyone's outside, and it looks you kind of look like you've stepped into a movie about what life is like in on a college campus.
You should have told them that they're gonna hate that walk in about a month when it starts snowing.
No kidding. When the wind kicks up, it'll
Exactly.
be miserable. Yeah.
That's the worst part.
Yep.
It's funny because I remember moving into the dorms my first year up in Oswego. It was really so exciting. And I've got great stories. But I'm wondering if you have any great stories from moving into the dorms that you share with students and some of your experiences that you had
As an actual undergrad?
as an undergrad or even as an educator.
Yeah. I did not live on campus. So I was a commuter all 4 years at Canisius. So I missed that part. So I kind of got that in grad school, that sort of feeling. I remember just I was like, when I started college and then when I moved to when I went to go to grad school, I was terrified. I felt like such an imposter. Like I didn't belong. Like I had so much anxiety about how well I was going to perform, if I was going to perform well, so I had a lot of self-doubt. So when I think about starting college, that's usually what I start thinking about is how low my confidence was when I started. And it didn't get better right away, that's for sure. I probably told you the story. I started as a biology major and then I was failing everything. And luckily I found my way out of that hole. Once I found comm, it was, everything else fell into place and that was good. But yeah, so I think I'm certain I try not, it's interesting, navigating conversations like that with students when they get to campus, because I don't want to I don't want them to think that they should be nervous, but I also want them to be thinking about this is different. It really, if you're coming straight out of high school, college is different and you're going to have to work harder. And if you were like me and you kind of made it through and you didn't have to work too hard in high school to do really well, like that's not going to happen when you get to college. And so, trying to very delicately package that message for new students, like have fun, enjoy yourself. Don't take things too seriously, but you should expect that you're going to work a lot harder than you've worked up to this point.
Trying to have the same work ethic in college that you had in high school is bound for failure when you if you just coasted by with regular a B average and you're like, oh, this is not bad, I could do this, and then you go to college and you're like, that's not going to work.
No. Well, because you have all these other factors too with
exactly.
You got people, hey, we're going out on a Thursday night, let's go, no, I got to study for a test tomorrow.
No, you don't.
Okay, right? Yeah, exactly. That's how the conversation usually goes.
And just worrying about students and roommates and cohabitating and all of that, that's super stressful and anxiety provoking. And a lot of these students, they've never experienced anything like that before. So
it's funny
trying to just wrap your
sorry,
arms around them. No, just that, they need support in different ways. And you just need, if you have a quick conversation, you can usually assess pretty quickly what they need in that moment.
I had seen a picture online on one of Oswego's, I don't know, I think it was probably Instagram or something, that account. The dorms are like the same. I can't believe we lived in those things back in the day.
Yeah. Two people.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
It's a shoebox.
It's wild. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so
No thanks.
wild.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
and then the amount of stuff that you have. Following SUNY Oswego on Instagram, I've been seeing a bunch of different videos. I've noticed, they're making all these different videos, these reels and things like that, which is really cool. And you see these kids moving in like last week, and they're like, first of all, we didn't have these. They had like, those big garbage containers that you push. Like they like just start throwing all their stuff into these like containers and push them into the buildings. I was like, we should have had that. They gave us like those bad
U-boats.
luggage
Yeah.
carts that
Not
didn't work,
even.
that the wheels start turning in different directions and they don't go straight, and everything starts falling off because it's not all balancing correctly. It's just a disaster. But then I saw today, like first day of class, and like all these kids were like, they were like asking kids, what are you wearing and where is it from, and like stuff like that. And all these kids are like telling like where their clothing is from. I thought it was pretty funny.
That's
Yeah, I saw that
interesting.
one today too. I thought it was really entertaining. I tell you what, getting your hands on one of those bins though, it's like Gladiator out there. Like it's like you're in the Coliseum fighting to get one of
There's not
those.
many.
No, there aren't many. I mean, I shouldn't, not to throw my Res Hall friends under the bus, but there's really no rhyme or reason in terms of like how they track who gets the bin next, and
Oh.
it's a bit of a free for all. And usually it ends with some terse comments to the Res
Now we know
Light
where the
staff.
investment has to go. Where the next investment needs to go. More bins, please.
Exactly.
Well, we all went to college at around the same time. So I remember, you know, back in the late 90s, we were bringing in these, bulky computer monitors and the 50-pound television
And
Oh,
televisions,
those
yes.
TVs were
and the
heavy.
big stereo
Oh.
system. And now these kids just bring in this thin little laptop and they drop it on the desk and they're
And that is their
done.
stereo. There's no stereo anymore.
Seriously.
That is their
It's
stereo.
and again, the space was not very big.
No.
So we're
So they
cramming
have so
everything
much
in
more
there.
space nowadays. Think about it. Think how much more space they have nowadays because they don't have to worry about all that, the computer,
Right.
radio,
Yeah.
all that other stuff that goes along with it.
I think you guys should do a 48-hour podcast. We're going to put you in one of the Res Hall rooms, all four of you in one room, and we'll see how it
Who
goes.
comes
We'll
out
see how-
alive?
Yeah.
Is food just gonna be dropped off at the door?
Yeah.
No, we'll give you go and eat in the dining hall like everybody else. We'll let you out for some yard time and some
Yard
chow.
time.
It sounds like prison. Jeez.
Listen, I'm looking forward to the chicken patty sandwich. if
I
that's-
know, right?
There you go.
I'm
We won't
down.
even ration them. You can have as many chicken patties as
Oh
you
my
want.
God, I'm gonna gain
Oh.
like 40
Yeah.
pounds in like 2
Seriously,
weeks.
easily.
My
Easily.
my metabolism is not the same when I was 18 anymore.
No.
Nope.
Are there any new courses or initiatives available to the SCMA students this year?
So we don't have any new academic programs, so to speak, like in the traditional sense of the word. But in sort of thinking about having this conversation with you guys, and what to talk about. One thing that we don't really do a good enough job promoting is we do have a micro credential, which is a hot thing right now. So it's sort of like a certificate or a micro credential, a similar thing where it's a small number of classes, 3 to 4 courses that you can take in a particular area, and it gives you a deliverable skill at the end of that. So we do have a digital media and communication design micro credential. So it's sort of a combination of well, it's really about creating digital media messages, and they can be actual written messages, or it can be some light web design, some how to establish a social media presence. So there's it's a cluster of 4 courses. It's 12 credit hours that you would take. And we've been trying to offer that at our Syracuse campus. So we're trying to broaden the types of programming that we're delivering at the Syracuse campus. And it is sort of meant more so. So it's open to our current students that are enrolled, but it's also something that we're trying to market to working professionals who might want to upskill a little bit and have more of an idea of how to produce content for the web, or how to create digital messages. So that's something that I think we're trying to promote a little bit more strongly. And then really it is all about what's happening in Hewitt. We have gotten some good press recently. Can I tell you about that?
Whoops.
Sure.
Okay, so we'll start with Broadcasting Education Association, BEA, and NAB. You know, you guys probably remember hearing about that, and during your time, you know, it was something that Fritz was heavily involved in, so you probably heard a lot about it. So it's pretty recent. They started ranking programs like media programs, broadcasting programs, and things like that. And the timing is great with the opening of Hewitt because we very often are asked like how our program rates or how our program compares to other peer institutions. And there really hasn't been any sort of ranking system for media programs or comm programs or anything like that. But now there is. So they have this, they call it like the recognition of institutional excellence in media. And they decide these rankings based on 5 years of student submissions to BEA for BEA competitions. So we're talking about like over, you know, in these last 5 years, 7,000 students, 300 different institutions that they used the data that they collected from all of those submissions. And we were the top SUNY. So go Oswego. We knew this, right? But it's nice to see it in print. And then we were one of the top 5 just overall programs in New York State. And we're the only public institution. So you can imagine it's Syracuse, it's Ithaca, it's St. Bonaventure, Hofstra, and then SUNY Oswego. So we were ranked 5th out of all of those programs in New York State. So we're really excited about that. And the list that we were on. So we were like 67 overall out of 95 schools that they ranked. So we were really happy about that. But great that we're the top SUNY and certainly not surprised that we were in, you know, top 5 in New York State, either public or private. So
that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Okay, Oswego, I see you.
That's right. Yes. Yep.
Look, man, we punch above our weight class, right?
Yeah, we sure do.
Exactly. That's exactly true. And that's kind of usually how we phrase it to people too, is that's kind of what you can expect. And then more recently, one of our faculty members got a call from a reporter at US News and World Report, and they just did a story on 5 college majors with great job prospects. And so will you guys humor me for a second? Let me read these programs to you.
Yes,
okay.
Please do.
Okay, so petroleum engineering, operations research and industrial engineering, applied economics and management, building science.
It's exciting.
But the last one is interaction design, which we have a program in our Department of Art and Design. So it was nice. And we were the only institution. In fairness, if you read the article, they only identify one institution that has these programs. But I mean, if you can imagine, they're listing like, you know, Ivy League schools and these huge research one institutions. And then it's like, where do you want to study interaction design? How about SUNY Oswego? So that was really exciting and not expected. And it's perfect because interaction design, that academic program, will go into Hewitt. So it's a good time for us to capitalize on that. And it's a very interdisciplinary area of study. So it's kind of like a combination of storytelling, technology, communication, design. So if you think about like UX, UI, stuff like that, extended reality, augmented reality, multimedia design, motion, graphics, that's all the stuff that goes into an interaction design program. So more bragging rights for us, which we love.
That's right.
So
yes,
it's very much like a graphic arts type program, I guess.
Yes. Yep. It was born out of our graphic design program, but with more of an emphasis on motion, sound, audio, user experience, stuff like that. Yeah.
Is that virtual reality? Is that within
Yes.
that? Okay. Experience. Okay.
Yep.
So,
yep.
You know what I was thinking? There should be, because when I went to grad school, when I started to look at grad schools and I was looking at things I was interested in doing, there was a school I was living in Hoboken at the time, in Hoboken, New Jersey, and there's a school, Stevens Hoboken, and I looked at what they had because I was curious and thought about, it's right near me, maybe I'll go there. Turns out I can't be a developer, so that was out of the question. But they have like a major in like, or a graduate program in like computer, like video game design and things like that. Like I feel like that kind of falls in that same realm. Like maybe you guys could kind of develop like a program around, or in that area.
Yes, and that is where, so when we have students that say they're interested in game design, we have to do sort of like a quick quiz on where their interest and their skill set lies. So you can push them over to computer science to do more of sort of like the back end programming, stuff like that. But then if you want to teach them more about actual like narrative and then building out the actual, like animation and graphics and stuff like that, that's what we can do in our Department of Art and Design. So we sometimes have students that are like like they'll major in computer science and maybe they'll minor in art and they'll try to get into some of those courses. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Jason. That's the direction that some students go because they want to enter into that world, which is huge, like billions and billions of
Yeah.
dollars.
Can
Yeah.
you have like a shared degree type thing with computer science? Is that I don't know if that's even a thing, like where you can combine like two different programs almost and like get a degree like that way? I mean, obviously it's kind of like majoring and minoring or double majoring, I guess, but
Yeah, you could double major, but I mean, could you, and this is something that we're talking about and not necessarily in this explicit direction that we're talking about now, but sort of building, is there a program that can be built that sort of takes all the best parts of
right.
SCMA? And that's kind of my vision. Maybe I'm gonna get ahead of myself, and maybe this is probably better to end on, but I'll just say let you know now. Like my vision for SCMA and for Hewitt Hall specifically is to really become a center for media and visual communication, or media and visual arts. We're probably going to have to duke it out to see what word wins in the end. But that's really what Hewitt was built for, is this artistic convergence. It really is sort of that the physical manifestation of this artistic convergence that SCMA was created to inspire and to embody. So we're talking about that, and whether that's an undergraduate program or a graduate program, we've still got a lot of thinking and research to do about that. But I think it would be smart, and then to maybe even have a track that's related to video game development or video game design. We've got a lot of great partnerships with creative writing and the creative writing and English department, and they offer a lot of courses on actual, narrative storytelling and things like that. So many opportunities, so much work to do.
I am curious, Dr. Knapp. So, when we talk about artificial intelligence as it relates to creativity or creative works, in some ways it aids it, in some ways it usurps it. So what would SCMA's approach be, or what is the approach to AI in relation of how it helps or assists or is involved with creative works?
Yeah, I would say that is developing every day,
Yeah.
in terms of how we want our students to engage with it, how we're using it as faculty and staff. It's so new, that I can't open up a comm theory textbook and be like, okay, so this is what we're supposed to do. This is how we're supposed to go about that. That doesn't exist. It is so far ahead of what we know, that it's difficult to keep up. So we spend a lot of time talking about how to use the tool responsibly. And it's interesting because it of course cuts across all corners of the campus. And so you've got the faculty in the classroom, you've got the students, but you've also got, we have a teaching excellence center. So they're doing their best to sort of curate research for us to read about best practices. In addition to the library, like how do you cite ChatGPT when you use that to sort of help you craft an argument or something like that. So there's so many different people that are involved. And so a lot of it, we're just trying to be really open with the conversations that we have with students. And we're not saying don't use it, but we're not saying use it exclusively. We're saying use it responsibly and tell me how you use that tool. That's all we're, very often asking students is it's fine. Just let us know, what was the prompt that you fed in there, or, what iteration are we looking at now compared to where you started with a generative AI tool. So it's, as you can imagine, it's something that we talk about just about every day in some form or fashion.
Is there a concern of AI replacing voiceover work, performance art? Like what are the I guess the concerns around the potential of AI to replace a lot of the professions that students are studying in SEMA.
Yeah, that is sort of the downside to it, that there
Mhm.
is this worry and this concern that that is going to happen. And all we can really do is provide our students with the tools that we always have, that they can be critical thinkers, that they can be smart consumers, that they are savvy when it comes
Mhm.
to media literacy and things like that. And so I think we're trying not to be too doomsday. And we typically our conversations don't go in that direction. We really try to talk about the advantages of these types of tools and how it can make things better. So we don't get too far in the weeds about being replaced and stuff like that. But I do have friends across campus that are like, oh yeah, I use it all the time, and it cuts the amount of time that I'm used to spending on a project tremendously. Cuts it in half sometimes. And so I I think we're being open. We're not running away from it. We're acknowledging it, and we're just working on how to be responsible.
Mhm. So when we spoke last year, Jen, it was right after the Communication Studies alumni dinner. I know that runs on a triennial basis. Is there any consideration to maybe moving the next one up a year to coincide with the opening of Hewitt Hall?
We've not had that conversation. So I don't know. It's not an impossibility, and it would be smart, given everything that's going on in the fanfare that we're expecting for when the building opens. So I might have to ask my colleagues. We'll have to call Laura and see what Laura thinks about that. Laura Kelly, see if she can manage another event. I don't know, but it's certainly worth pursuing. That's for sure. That and thinking about that. But then, we're already going to have a party next year. So why not
True.
have a party in 25? And
Yeah.
then when you guys come back in 26, and we'll just keep it rolling.
Kevin will help her organize and run it. Don't worry about
Yeah. 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 He's got plenty of time.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Sure.
it.
Why not?
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
We're always looking for volunteers. So thanks, Kevin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Great.
So, Dr. Knapp, when you joined us last year, you spoke of a fundraising campaign for the wide range of equipment that will be needed, acquired, and then maintained within Hewitt. Where do things stand with that right now?
So we're still kind of in the quiet phase in the hopes that, we can launch when we're already pretty close to our goal. I'm told that's how things are done when you have fundraising campaigns like this. So you want to be like, oh, we're 33, or 60%, on our way to our goal. So we're right now it's still pretty quiet. And again, a lot of with getting a new president, a lot is going on with President Wosu, and he's been out on the road quite a bit fundraising, and the endowment for the university has really grown since he's taken over, and that's been great. So there's been a lot of emphasis on him and his vision, and sort of settling in with all of that, and thinking about what he wants the next large, like university-wide capital campaign to be. And so it's been a little bit quieter than we had anticipated, but it's the right thing to do as he sort of sets his agenda for the university. So we're just sort of quietly in the background doing our thing and looking for donors and looking for lead donors that can maybe even put a challenge out to alumni, like we very often do with our annual giving days and things like that. So we're still cultivating donors. And we're still looking for corporate sponsors and things like that, and looking for organizations that share the same values as SUNY Oswego and SCMA, that maybe if they offer in-kind donations, so if they manufacture equipment that we know our students are going to be using, or if if Spectrum wants to sponsor our newsroom or something like that. We're having conversations right now with partners so that we can also tout that as well. Not only do we have the sort of private, philanthropy from alumni or partners, that we also have some corporate and foundations that are interested in the work that's going on at SUNY Oswego. So I'm learning a tremendous amount about development and how all of that works. which has been really, really fulfilling. Not a skill set that I expected to be working on this early into my deandom, but it's an important skill set to have. And so I've been really, really eager to learn from our major gift officers and from our VPs over in development to help us get to our goal. Because thank you for bringing it up. The whole point is to be able to support the technology and equipment needs of SCMA in perpetuity. So we're still working toward that goal.
And what was the overall goal again? Like, what was was there a level, or
we have a private number. We have a private number that
what's the public number? No, I'm just kidding.
Jason, I gotta mute your mic.
TBD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$1 million.
I'm gonna
11 billion.
11
Yes.
billion. Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah. So you guys will have to invite me on for a third time to get me to speak those numbers. So we'll see. I'm going to hold out for that.
It's a deal.
We'll work on a date after this podcast. We'll book you for the next one. Don't worry about
Perfect.
it. So, but nothing is for, you talked about corporate sponsorship, but nothing's locked in. So whatever names you may have mentioned, that's just a hypothetical at this point.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally
okay.
hypothetical. And there are lots of naming opportunities as well. As you can imagine, we've got a lot of beautiful new buildings across campus that have been supported by either alumni or just local people who know the sort of transformative power of what goes on at SUNY Oswego. So we're looking to find the right people for that as well. So again, I'll say again, if Throwing Bagels wants to name our podcast studio, I'm here for it.
We'll see if we can scrounge up some few dollars and cents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
are extroverted. You probably have tons of friends.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure it would only take you a few hours to raise the amount of money that we need to name the studio for you.
Got a roll of quarters somewhere.
back from the washer and dryer in the dorms when you were in school.
Jason, how are the lemonade sales going? Are they going all right? Where are we?
My kids quit, so I don't know.
Oh, jeez.
They called it. They tried to start a union, and I squashed them. That was So the last time you were on, it was a Monday night, obviously, and over my shoulder you had said you saw the Giants were playing,
Right.
and you had mentioned you were actually a Bills fan.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your thoughts on your Buffalo Bills this year?
Guys, I was going to ask you this question, so I'm kind of embarrassed that you got the jump on me, Jason. So, I don't know, fellas. It's a bit of a rebuild, and it's not that they're not saying that it's a rebuild, when it comes to the offense, but it's a rebuild. So there's a lot of question marks. I haven't watched much of the preseason. Usually by this point in the season, 2 weeks out from the first game, like I'm locked in, I'm dialed in. I know all the new players, all of that. And I don't know if it's because of the election. I'm just sort of consumed with what's going on politically right now that the Bills aren't getting the amount of attention that I normally give them. So I'll say I'm cautiously optimistic, but AFC East is going to be tough. I don't think we're going to look at any sort of total domination. So I think it's going to be a battle. So just hope that everybody stays healthy. We've got a bunch of injuries right now.
Yeah, I was going to say Matt Milano was already out for the year, isn't he?
Oh my God, that was a blow. That was
2 years in a row.
Yep, 2 years in a row. They're trying to give us a shred of hope and say, oh, maybe by December he'll be able to return to practice, and if we get to the playoffs, he'll be eligible to play and available. But I don't know. Yeah, that was a huge blow. Right now, one of the hot things, because I'm also from Buffalo, and so they've got this kid, Joe Andreessen. I don't know if you heard about him, local kid who just was given like a walk-on tryout. Basically, he's a linebacker, and he just shredded Pittsburgh when they played them a couple of weeks ago. So it's like, that's already the legend of Joe Andreessen. And, is he going to be the new savior in the linebacking core? I don't even know if he's going to make the team. I guess we'll know by this time tomorrow. But
like Vince Papale from on the Eagles. Remember that? From the movie Invincible? Did you ever see that?
Yes, absolutely. Yep, that's exactly what it is.
So under 10 wins, what do we got? Do you think we're going over 10 wins?
I will predict over 10 wins.
Then you're probably winning the AFC East.
Yeah, you think? Okay.
Yeah,
10
I
wins.
do.
10 wins. I think Yeah, 11 wins is gonna be tough.
I
In that
think
division.
11. I think at 11-6, the Bills.
In that
Yeah.
division, it's gonna be
Do.
tough.
Yeah.
Don't think the Jets are going to do any better.
I'm just saying, 11 wins in that division this year is gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Forget about New England. Those should be 2
Oh,
wins
no.
for each team for the other 3 teams in the division. That should be
Yes.
6 total wins right there. But
Yeah.
Miami's probably going to win a division.
Oh God.
not if they have to come to Buffalo. It depends. When do they go to Buffalo? Is it going to be cold or is it going to be warm?
Oh, good question. I don't know off the top
Because if
of my
they
head,
come when it's
actually.
cold, they're not going to win.
Yeah. Oh,
They
you
can't
guys are
win.
making me nervous. My hands are getting sweaty already.
Oh, listen,
Yeah.
we're
all Giants fans, so we have nothing else to
Yeah.
go on right now.
I'm rooting for the Bill. Like the Bills is my team. Like that's what I'm in my head. It's going to be my team this year again because that's what it's been for the last, as long as I've lived in Syracuse. But
Yeah.
because the Giants have been terrible for probably
Yeah.
the better part of 15 years. So
Yeah. Well, what's the word on the street with the Giants? Like, what are people saying about them?
Doom.
Doom.
hey,
Dude.
Tommy DeVito is going to be the third quarterback on the team.
Hey.
Ah,
Oh
It's
no.
like it's just a disaster.
it's an
like,
absolute. It's going to be terrible.
their
Like,
defense isn't going to be
no,
horrible.
no,
they have a good
Come
they have a
on.
decent defense, but their offense is going to be brutal.
So listen, Jen, our last guest was Oswego professor Scott Steiger. He's also a Bills fan, so I think you could have a faculty Bills fan club going.
We should. We should have a
yes.
Bills backer bar
Uh,
on campus.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be phenomenal.
Well, it would be phenomenal.
Bar
Yeah.
on campus. Now that would be awesome. That's not allowed anymore. I guess.
No,
Nope.
that was before our time.
That was way
No.
before our time.
Way,
Yeah.
yeah.
It nixed that.
We had the non-alcoholic bar when
That's
we were
right.
at
We had the
Oswego.
ozone.
Yeah, that was fun.
Rocking. Rocking.
Wow.
There was never. I'm surprised there was never a. I mean, I guess technically all the bars are probably, but there was never like a team bar in Oswego. Like there was never like one bar that was like
No, not for a
It-
professional team.
you know.
Mm.
It was. I never remember like one bar being a Bills bar or like
Mm-mm.
technically Greens. The guy who owned Greens, I think he was actually a Bears fan. So technically, it might have been that was. But other than that, I don't really think any other establishments in Oswego ever really.
No, I think you're right.
Dr. Knapp, thank you so much for coming back and putting up with us for a second time. Greatly appreciate that. And we are really looking forward to about a year from now when Hewitt Hall opens its doors. That's going to be really one of the great moments in Oswego history, frankly. Once
Yes.
that door opens up, yeah.
Absolutely. Once in a professional lifetime is what we're saying around campus for a lot of us. So we're totally thrilled and can't wait. Yep, counting down the days. So thanks again for having me on. I look forward to seeing you guys soon and best of luck with the pod this year. Go Giants. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
And that was the Dean of the School of Communication, Media, and the Arts at SUNY Oswego, Dr. Jennifer Knapp. And another great interview in the books. And boy, I know we just said it with Dr. Knapp, but I think now it's really the time when the excitement's starting to build for Hewitt Hall, being open. That's going to be a heck of a day.
Yeah, I
So-
can't wait for the party, man. That's going to be so
Yeah.
awesome.
You think we're gonna be invited?
I think so. Yeah. If not, we're inviting ourselves right now.
That's right.
We're
I mean,
crashing it. We're
Yeah.
crashing it.
She just made a comment to naming the podcast studio for us, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Listen.
mean, we have to pay for it, but
We
so
do.
who cares?
Yeah. We'll take a loan out.
Yeah,
I'll
we'll do
tell my
that.
wife.
What the
I'll
heck?
tell my wife we're gonna take a home equity loan.
Yes. You do one, Jason. I'll put a home equity loan on our house.
There you go.
and-
Screw
Excellent.
construction on my house.
Yeah,
We're just gonna take
forget
a
it.
home equity loan to name a podcast studio.
Why not?
Yeah, it'll
what
be
could
worth
go
it.
wrong?
Excuse me. I need to borrow $2 million. Can you help me with that, please? Sir, no, we cannot. Can you leave, please?
Yeah, get out.
Security won't go.
Oh man. But it's funny though, because I mean, I live just down the road from SUNY Cortland, so all the students there just moved in, and you can't help but think about you go back to when you first set foot on campus,
Yeah.
and it was weird. It was disorienting,
Yeah.
really disorienting.
And you know what's even weirder is, and I'm first generation born in this country. My parents are from Greece, obviously, and they have probably about the equivalent of a sixth grade education.
You're Greek?
So no, I just pretend to be.
Huh.
So when they were like there moving me in, like, can you imagine that experience? Like,
Oh, they were probably like in like
oh my
fish out of
God.
water. They were like,
It
what
was
the hell is this?
It was so weird. It was just like one of the weirdest experiences ever. And like, you don't know anyone, and like, man,
Yeah.
it's so bizarre. But yeah, that's this time next year is gonna be really exciting on that campus. It's gonna be really awesome.
Should be. I think it'll be really exciting to see it open up, see what it looks like inside, what it really looks like.
Yeah.
The renderings, I feel like won't completely do it justice. You know what I mean? Like everything we've seen, like you can see it and everything, but like
Yeah.
seeing it live and really in person is like what really kind of makes it pop.
Some of the trees in the rendering probably won't be there.
Probably not.
Exactly.
But I remember Hewitt Union was always dark. It was always
no,
dark.
God, it was
You walk
terrible.
in, it's dark. You walk downstairs, it's even darker.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
this
yeah.
is going to be the whole complete opposite.
Oh,
of
yeah.
that.
Hewitt Union was a dump, but it was our dump.
That's
you know what I
right.
mean? It was just
No,
like,
it was.
That's
You're
right.
so right. You're so
I mean,
right.
it was ours. We appreciate
Yeah.
it. It was, not the nicest place in the world, but
It was just
all
a
right.
square concrete
Oh,
Yeah, it
box.
was just a slab of concrete.
Yeah.
That's all it was. Big
It was
slab.
it was our Shea Stadium, basically.
Yes,
Right, exactly.
that's an excellent analogy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. But sir,
So we mentioned off the top of the interview, off the top of the podcast, sorry, that Jason had something to get off his chest. So I think now is your opportunity. So
Floor is
Okay.
yours.
that's right.
so last week I took my son to a Mets game, right? Me and him, we go to the game, have a good time. We're sitting like the second deck right behind home plate. And my family ended up going. The rest of my family ended up coming to the game, but we sat separately. They bought their tickets after I did, so they're sitting on the field level, like further down the line. And Sean Manaea is pitching. He's pitching a great game. He is, mowing them down one by one. Right. We get to the fifth inning, and like I look up, I'm like, he's got something going here, right? He's got this is looking good. Go downstairs to go talk to my family quickly. It's the fifth inning. It's the bottom of the fifth inning. And my sister comes over and she says hello to me and my son. And then she turns to me and she goes, he's pitching a no-hitter, right? I was like, what the hell's wrong with you? I was like, you just broke.
no.
That's it. It's over. She's like, what? I was like, you can't talk about it. She's like, what's the big deal? I was like, no, now it's over. It's over. So we talk to them, right? We go back upstairs. We sit back down. Orioles come up in the top of the sixth inning. First two batters, out, right? So now he's 5 2/3 into it, right? Next batter, boom, he hits him. Okay, perfect game over. Next batter,
That's right.
first pitch.
That's right. He had a
First pitch,
perfect game going.
2-run home run.
Yeah.
No hitter over. Game tied. Text my sister. Look what you just did. She's like, I knew you were going to text me. She's like, technically, she goes, my brother-in-law is the one who told me about it. So you can blame him. I'm like, I don't really care who told you about it. You shouldn't have mentioned it. She goes, well, he did, but he mentioned it. I was like, he's not a Mets fan. It doesn't matter to him. I was like, oh my God. And then the best part is this woman's sitting next to me with her daughter. And after Manaea hits, the Orioles batter, she turns to her daughter and she goes, watch this. The next guy's going to hit a home run. And like I said, first pitch, boom, 2-run home run. Oh, man. I was like,
Yeah.
what is wrong with you? I lost it. I was
Yeah.
like, God,
I think
can't
you need to
stand it.
Yeah, you got to
Pissed me
disown
off.
her. I think that's what. Yeah, I think that's the option. It's the only option.
That was
Unbelievable.
my rant. Rant over.
And the
Still not
Mets,
off my chest yet, but that's okay.
they
Still
pulled that
sitting.
off in the bottom of the ninth, right? That was one of the games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the
Yes.
Winker home run. The Winker home run.
That's right. And his
But-
beautiful hair.
Yeah, but my son. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I told you guys this. My son despises Jesse Winker. Like literally, like Jesse Winker when he came up with the Reds, and Mets fans didn't like him from the time he played with the Reds because he was a rookie and he was giving the Mets fans like saying things to them in the outfield and stuff like that. So a lot of Mets fans don't like him, right? Well, my son wasn't even born yet, I don't think, at that point, or he was very little. This year he was on the Nationals, and I guess he was like doing the same. He's like one of those guys that if he's on your team, you're fine with him, but if he's not on your team, you hate him, right? So my son is like, he doesn't like him. He doesn't like him. He comes to the Mets. He's like, I still hate him. I will not root for this guy. Of course, Jesse Winker hits the game-winning run. He goes, no, I'm not rooting for him. Like this 7-year-old kid is adamantly despises Jesse Winker. He is standing his ground, and he will not. Anytime they show Jesse Winker on TV, I hate him. I'm like, man, you got some strong distaste for this guy. It's crazy.
Where did he pick that up from?
I have no idea. I really don't.
So it's not you then.
It wasn't you.
Me. It wasn't me. I mean, I never liked him that much but I never said anything. I never said a word. I never
I know who it is.
It's not my wife.
It's your sister.
She doesn't even know who Jesse Winker is.
Interesting.
She doesn't know Jesse Winker from Henry Winkler. Guys,
Henry Winkler. Wow.
she doesn't know either of them.
This is a mystery. It's a mystery that perhaps shall remain unsolved.
I've tried to ask him. I'm like, why do you hate him so much? Because he was on the Nationals. I was like, but there's like plenty of other guys.
Oh,
I mean, he despises Bryce Harper too, but that's my fault. That's my fault. I told him Bryce Harper's a dirty player. So from that point on,
So because he came from a division rival,
I guess, but he's the only player like that he really despises. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't, pick out anybody else. Like he's not like Austin Riley. I hate him. I mean, I hate Austin Riley, but he's never, for some reason, Jesse Winker despises him.
I think Jason did say something.
I didn't. I never said a word. I would own it. I would totally own it.
All right. So I think that'll do it for this edition of the Throwing Bagels podcast. You can reach us online, throwingbagels.com. Email us, throwingbagelspodcast@gmail.com. Jason, Chris, it's been a pleasure as always.
Kevin, Jason.
Fellas,
Adios.
adios.